Hi everyone, it's Miss Wright with your English lesson for today. Now, today we are going to be continuing on from what we did on Monday. Now, you might remember on Monday we were watching loads of different videos all about polar bears to try and gather some really exciting vocabulary to add to our word banks. Now, today we are going to turn those really lovely, exciting words into a beautiful descriptive poem all about polar bears. So, let me just get up what you're looking at home. Now, these are the ones that I had a little bit of a go at, okay? You can see that I've got nouns, so I've got naming words. I've got adjectives, describing words to help me describe those nouns. I've also got verbs, doing words, okay? And then I've got adverbs to tell me how things were being done. Now, you might notice that these words go together. So a noun and an adjective tends to go together, so the pointed clause. You might also notice that verbs and adverbs go together. So you could say that the polar bear was swimming cautiously. So an adverb and a verb tends to go together too. Now we're going to use our knowledge of that to write our own descriptive poem. So a poem will, it'll tell us all about polar bears and how they live in the Arctic. We're going to describe how they move, how they hunt, how they look after their family. Now, poems have slightly different jobs, okay? So a poem tends to be a piece of writing that uses imaginative words, just like what we've got in our word bank, to share ideas, emotions, or a story with the reader. Now, many poems have words or phrases that sound good together when they're read aloud. So things that have got a bit of a rhythm, like a song, okay? And sometimes parts of them repeat. Sometimes a poem rhymes, but sometimes it doesn't. So let's keep that in mind for when we're writing them on our own. Let's have a little go all together. Okay, then let's get started. Now, like we were talking about before, a poem is going to set the scene. So let's try and set the scene of what's happening at the moment in this picture here, okay? So let's start with the ice, let's say, underneath a polar bear's feet. Now, I want to use an adjective to describe the ice. And when I think back to my word bank, I've got the word brittle, okay, which means it's very easily broken, it's very fragile. So I'm going to start off with the brittle ice. Now, the brittle ice is sort of, I can imagine with the polar bear padding on it using these big paws, it's probably going to crackle or crack in places because of the weight of the polar bear. So the brittle ice cracked under the. Now, I was just going to say claws, but I think I can add an adjective to that noun to make it a little bit more exciting. So maybe the pointed claws, which is part of my word bank. So under the pointed claws of the polar bear. So if you close your eyes, you can kind of see that happening. You can see that ice being broken up because of the weight of the polar bear and its pointy claws, okay? Now, let's have a look at her fur. Let's see how I can describe it. It looks very wet. So maybe I can start this part of my poem with her wet fur. And obviously you can use any of the words in your word bank. This is just what I'm working with, okay? So the wet fur, what was her wet fur doing? Oh, it was dripping, okay? What do you think it was dripping? It was dripping water. So what temperature do you think the water would be? Do you think it'd be hot water, cold water, freezing cold water? I'm going to go for ice cold. Her wet fur, dripping ice cold water. So water is my noun, and that water is being dripped onto the sort of white snow. Onto the white snow. Oh, I'm really starting to paint a picture now. Now then, what do we think she's on the ice for? What is she doing there? I imagine she's probably hunting her prey. So let's set the scene a little bit with that one, okay? So she'll be looking for it, won't we? So let's try and describe her eyes. Now, I could use some words in my word bank for this, some adjective. I can have round, black, maybe. Well, I mean, she probably wouldn't be looking for it. Maybe she'd be smelling it. So maybe I need to describe her nose first. So her sort of round black nose, I can start with that. And because I've got two adjectives, they need to be separated with a comma. Okay, so her round black nose, her round black nose. What was her nose doing? It's sniffing, it's smelling, okay? So sniffed the air. Sniffed the air. And what is she trying to smell out? She's trying to smell her nearby prey. So if prey is my noun, I'm describing it by saying it's nearby, okay? Her round black nose sniffed the air for nearby prey. Fantastic. Okay, maybe I need, I don't know, one or two more sentences. Let's see what I can do. So she's sniffing the air for prey. What is she going to do when she's found it? She's probably going to move towards it. Now, is she going to go hurtling, running towards it? Or do you think she'd be very quiet and cautious? I can use those adverbs to describe how she's getting there. Let's go for she moved silently. Now that's a word that we can remember from the ice bear story last week, okay? She moves silently. She moves silently towards her prey. She moves silently towards her prey. Now, what do you think she's going to do when she gets close enough? Do you think she's going to pounce? Okay, so maybe that can be my final sentence for my poem. Ready to pounce. Now, what I've done is I've left you the same sheet on the very last page of the slideshow for you to have a go at writing your own poem. And we would absolutely love to see them on the portfolio section of Class Dojo. Have lots of fun. We can't wait to see them. See you later. Bye.